Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Apologies for that. A few challenges connecting today. If there is anyone there, if you could let me know where you're joining from, what country, area, and what type of business, that would be great. Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Apologies for that. Okay, so welcome to Scaling Made Easy. Um, this webinar has been brought about to help small and medium-sized business owners scale and systemize their businesses to make the entire process of running your own business a breeze, shall we say. In today's fast-paced world, staying ahead of the competition and driving business growth has become more challenging than ever. However, we believe that growth doesn't have to be a grueling endeavour. And with our proven strategies and expert insights, we'll show you how to achieve business growth that comes easily. So the key topics that we're going to be talking about today are scaling and systemising your business, and we'll go through the stages of a business, its life's journey, easy business growth, how to win more clients, grow sales faster, and make more profit. So, without further ado, I'm just getting used to this online presentation, so bear with me. A little bit about me, if you've not met me before. My name's David Wood. I'm an ex-golf professional, a successful entrepreneur. I've started and scaled my own businesses. First business I started in 1996 with an initial investment of £3,000 and scaled that over 11 years to 22 million in revenue and 2 million in EBITDA profits. That business was sold to venture capitalists, private equity, and I exited the business. A few years later, I purchased that business back. It wasn't quite performing. It was down from 22 million in revenue to 8 million in revenue, and it was losing about £500,000 a year. So I bought that business back in 2013, rescaled it, and sold it in 2018 with revenues circa £31 million. So I've been there and scaled businesses myself. I've done it myself. But part of my journey was when I bought the business back, the company had challenges I'd not experienced before. And therefore, I went on the search for a mentor for myself who actually started a passion in me for learning. And for the last 15 years, 20 years, I've been passionately learning more and more about business. And I want to pass on that knowledge. And that's now why I coach and consult and sit on boards as non-exec directors. So that's the difference between myself and other coaches. So I've lived the highs and lows of running a business. It's not all straightforward, as most of you will be aware. Currently, I own several businesses. I own a coaching consultancy business. I own a food distribution business called Food and Beverage Network Limited. And I also a co-owner of a food brand called La Saucy Salsa. So I'm still living the entrepreneurial life now, even after scaling and selling my own businesses. So we'll jump straight in. So the life cycle of an entrepreneurial business is stage one is the sort of concept, the idea. An entrepreneur has an idea on they want to do something. They want to do something differently to what they're doing at the moment, or they feel that they can make other people's lives better by creating a product or service. So the first stage is idea. The second stage is startup. Third stage is scale up. Fourth stage is mature. And the fifth stage is the expert business. Now, the different stages of the business, most of you will know. Um, but this is where it starts to get a little bit more interesting. When an entrepreneur starts a business, they have an idea, they have a concept, they've maybe got some experience in working for another business, but it's an idea, and they start to throw ideas out there, talking to customers, prospective customers, and they're really winging it. They're trying to throw stuff at a wall to make it stick, and this also happens in the startup stage of the business as well. The owner is trying to get something off the ground. Is playing everything by ear. They're very reactive. They're not proactive, or they've got a plan, but they're very reactive as things come up, whether it's challenges with their product or service, or whether it's opportunities that are coming from their network. They're very proactive. They're spinning lots of plates. And as soon as they enter the office, their plan goes out the window because something else happens, new opportunities or challenges. And they arrive at a fast pace when you're in the idea and startup stage. And then when you get to scale up, you're starting to shape the business. And the scale up stage of the business is where the owner starts to shape and model the business. They start to put systems and processes in place to help the business run smoother. So I said a moment ago, I started a business with an initial investment of £3,000 and built that business to 22 million without any systems or real systems in place. And the business did okay. But had I used the systems and processes that I now know and have learned over the years, that company could easily have been 50 to 100 million pounds worth of revenue and a significantly higher EBITDA profit and also a higher GP percentage. So this is why I'm really passionate about teaching small and medium-sized business owners get these things right and not having to endure what I had to go through scaling my own businesses. So when I was scaling the business first time round, my main focus was building a network and growing sales. Everything else just happened. It was sort of tacked on and it wasn't purposefully done. And it worked, but it didn't work really well. It could have happened a lot better and the revenue and profits could have been far greater. It's so important to get the startup and scale up stages of the business right. And if you don't, you'll find it very difficult to get to the mature and expert stages of the business. So the mature stage of the business is when the business is thriving. You've got most processes and procedures in place, but they still work to get them, but the team's still working to get them perfected. The business is growing quickly, and there's a management team in place. And then the expert stage is when the business is rocking. The business stage is the expert stage is when the business is absolutely rocking it. At the same time, the owner and the founder or the shareholders of the business are playing very little part in the day-to-day transactional elements of the business. Most of the senior management team or stakeholders start their businesses because they want to make more money and have greater freedom. Of a higher percentage of business owners find that the startup and scale-up stage of the business is problematic, and only a small percentage succeed after 5 years. They start to grow a team. They're constantly managing people. Processes aren't running smoothly. Sales aren't growing the way that they want, and therefore they get stuck into in the day-to-day transactional elements, and they lose the helicopter view of the business. At the expert level of the business, they have a team that's looking after the day-to-day and the transactional elements, whilst the senior management team, the owners and the stakeholders, they are looking at the at the future of the business, the strategic direction of the business, and making sure that they're staying on plan. So the three levels that I work with within my coaching consultancy business is the startup, is where the entrepreneur is doing everything. They're rowing as hard as they can to grow their business. They're responsible for everything. They're looking after all aspects of the business. They're looking after the vision, the mission, the cultural values and behaviors within the business. They set the goals, strategic direction. They look after the critical numbers, the operations, the finance, marketing, reporting, and commerce. And the challenge, if you're trying to do everything, is you can't do everything well. It's like multitasking. You can't put 100% effort into something, and therefore you don't get the best result that you could have got had you been focusing on that one thing solely. So corners are cut and things aren't done properly, and you're just trying to get through each day as best you can whilst trying to spin all the plates. And I found that a lot of business owners that I talk to have a wonderful business plan. In fact, some people are really good at writing business plans. It's War and Peace. It's almost, 500 pages thick or whatever. They've done all the research, but they never follow it. They don't look at the plan regularly enough to make it meaningful. The second stage of the business is the scale up. And this is where the companies start to onboard an A team. The owner, the managing director, is still responsible and accountable for almost everything going on in the business, but they start to build out a team. And if you don't build that team properly from the off, and you don't have the right onboarding processes and procedures and systems, you're going to face problems in the long term. And I found this is when we were scaling rapidly, we scaled from 15 people up to 55 in the team. We found that some elements of our onboarding process wasn't right, and we onboarded the wrong people, and that created a lot of problems and a lot of pain, not just but for the people who was dealing with recruitment, but for the rest of the team. So you need to make sure that you've got your team mapped out properly. You've got the right people in the right seats doing the right things right. Otherwise, you're going to have problems in the long term. So, as my mentor taught me, hire slow, fire fast. If you've got the wrong person on board in the wrong seat, try and train them. If they can't be trained, then let them go. You're only doing yourself and them an injustice by keeping them. So build out your A team. With the team, and in this stage where you're rowing with a few other people, you need to be constantly checking in that the team that you're building are all rowing in the same direction. So what you don't want to be doing is you rowing as hard as you can and the people behind you all rowing in opposite directions, or even worse still, throwing anchors overboard. So you need to put a system in place which is part of the strategic planning and execution plan to make sure everyone's rowing in the right direction and that you're not being slowed down. As the business starts to scale, you need to be mindful of your onboarding process as the business grows. We went from a general interviewing process to where we would do group interviews. So we would present to a room full of people who wanted to come and work for the business. And then from those people, they would hear what we were doing, how we were, what our values were like, our core behaviors, and if they felt it they didn't fit, they could leave at any time. So we found that really helpful in getting the right people on board, because we were upfront. We told them about the good things about the business and the things that we were working on. It's not just about this is the role, here's the salary. They have to buy fully into the culture of what you're trying to build as well. Um, so as I said earlier, hire slow, fire fast. Um, and then the third element, or the third stage of the business, the mature stage, is when you've got a team in place and they all know their roles. They've all got teams reporting into them, and you've gone from a canoe, rowing it yourself, paddling yourself. You've gone through to a slightly larger rowboat where you've got a team helping you. And we want to get the business to a place where the business is running like a cruise ship. Everything looks perfect on the surface. Your team's running everything on the ship, but you are overseeing everything. You're not actually doing everything. So you're just looking out for any obstacles in the way, and you're making sure that you're heading in the right direction at all times. And building out that team and that system is critical to getting your business off the ground, scaling fast, and delivering the results that you want to deliver. So there is an element of challenge within scaling a business, and that normally starts in the startup scale up. And as I've said, scaling a business is challenging. Most people start a business because of their idea, or they were working for someone doing the same job, and they felt that they could do it better or more profitably, and get more freedom back. So we use an analogy of like a landscape gardener or a double glazer or a baker. So if we use the quote of a baker will be working in a bakery for another baker, baking loaves, making cakes. They're brilliant at what they do. They love doing what they do, but they feel that they're not making the money that they should do, and they're not getting enough time with their family or freedom to do the things they love. So they think that they'll go off and start their own business, and it will give them more money, more freedom, more time, etc. And if you get it right, it can do, and it can pay dividends. But what normally happens is the person, the technical expert, will come out, they'll set up their own business, they'll start baking their own bread, they'll start making their own cakes, and they're brilliant at what they do. And because they're brilliant at what they do, their business starts to grow. But what they don't have is the skills or the knowledge on how to run that business and how to scale it systematically, so they don't get these challenges. So the business grows and grows and grows. They're winging the back office bit, the operations, the sales, the marketing, because they're focused on creating a really great product. And that's where the challenge, that's where the pain starts to come into the business, is when the business starts to gain momentum. So you start to take on more people, your business property starts to grow, more machinery if you're in a service, in a product related business. The challenges get bigger and bigger, and you're spinning those plates. And at some point, you have to start onboarding those people to help you. But if you don't onboard the right people, all what you're going to do is grow more problems. So we want to avoid the danger zone really in the business. The technical experts needs to pick up new skills, and those new skills have to be how to run the business, how to market the business, how to do sales. And it's not just about making a product so you can sell it. You also need to be very mindful of how watching your costs, how you can improve your profitability. So the danger zone within the business is critical, that you start to get these systems and processes in place. We talked about the idea part of the business. So I've got something called a business pyramid, which starts off with the vision and mission of the business. We then create a business plan. And as mentioned before, I found some really good businesses where they've got a great idea. They're selling lots of products really well. But behind the scenes, they're really struggling to be consistent, to deliver the service levels that they want to deliver. So having a business plan which you can use is critical to the future success of the business. And I don't mean War and Peace. I just mean a 1 or 2 page business plan, and that it has the key elements that you need to look at daily to make sure your business goes in the right direction and you're growing at a good pace. The next thing that you need to put in place is smarter goals to make sure that you're on track. And I'm not talking, an annual goal, I'm talking daily goals. And then you need an execution plan. Who's doing what, when, how, and where. And these 3 keys are the top level of making sure your organization is going to run smoothly, but also it's going to grow. Then we throw in some sales and marketing, and sales and marketing is really interesting. Marketing is something which I've been learning about for the last 2.5-3 years. In my previous businesses, it was mainly business growth, mainly come through face-to-face networking events or word of mouth, suppliers promoting our business to customers and us then picking that up, or customers referring us to other similar businesses. So marketing has been something new for me, and I'm just starting a digital marketing degree. But sales is one part product service, one part marketing. But there's a guy called Alex Hormozy. If you've not heard of him, there's a book here. He's just launched a new book called 100 Million Leads. He's fantastic. You should follow him. And it's all about the offer. If you can get your offer right, then you'll have no problem scaling your business. So building out the right offer is critical for growth. Building the right network. So you could have a huge network, but they might not be your ideal clients. So you need to identify who your ideal client is and then build your offer in line with what your ideal client's requirements are. And then there's the systems, and the systems that sit behind all these functions within the business, behind the business plan, behind the smarter goals, behind the education plan. So then you'll have a system for sales and marketing, a system for growing your network of your ideal clients. And then managing your cash flow. Without cash flow, cash flow is the lifeblood of your business. Without it, you don't survive. So you need some sort of metrics that you can track on a daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, and annual basis that make sure that you are heading in the right direction and you can feel the pulse of your business. Excuse me. So then there's, I think can you see that? Critical numbers. You should be able to see that. Yeah, you can see that. So then there's critical numbers. What numbers are really important to the success of your business? So it could be how many new customers you're winning, how many customers you're losing, what is your sales revenue, what's your profit, what's your profit margin, how many calls are you making daily to win new customers, how many calls are you making each day to retain customers, how many suppliers are you talking to negotiate prices. So there's hundreds of metrics that we can use to grow a business successfully. So having the right critical numbers within your business to track is really, really important. And then clear communication. I read a book by a Navy SEAL, and they were talking about communication in the field when they're actually at war, and they were saying that in one of the territories that they were in, there were different platoons from lots of different countries, but also from different areas. Whether there were Marines or paratroopers or Navy SEALs or whatever, and the command center had to use really simple communication to make sure that in the heat of battle, people could remember, or the military could remember, their soldiers could remember what it is they were doing. So they talk about in the battlefield, the only thing they had to think about was the safety of the civilians. So providing whatever action they took was in the best interest of the civilians and keeping them safe, that's all they had to do. They didn't have to think about 101 different things. And in business, it's the same. A lot of companies try to overcomplicate their communication structure. I had a brilliant PA who built out a communication structure for my business, and it was a one-page document, and there was about 6 different interactions on there, and the whole business knew what was going on within the business from top to bottom every single day. We knew what challenges there were at the very top of the business, so we could sort them out, and we would feed that information back within 24 hours so the business could continue with its momentum. So building out clear communications is paramount. Building the A team, we've talked about, but if you haven't got clear communications and you're communicating different things to different people, both internally and externally, you're going to come across challenges. So making sure that the values, the purpose of the business is very clear. So when you're talking to customers or suppliers, they're 100% transparent and understand what you're trying to achieve. And then a really big one is accountability. We all talk about people being accountable, but it has to start from the very top of the business. And I've seen businesses where the business owner says one thing, does something completely different, but expects it from the team. It has to start at the very top. So building in accountability into your business plan and into your execution plan is actually quite simple. But again, people overcomplicate it. Businesses overcomplicate it. They try to be too clever. And I think you'll get from this is what we need to do is simplify everything so the business is dead simple to understand. Yes, there might be complexities in the background, whether you're running machinery or working on algorithms or whatever it is. But the forefront of the business in all these areas, we have to keep it simple. Keep it simple, keep it easy to understand so growth can happen organically. And then responsibility. Again, when I bought the business back, the team wasn't responsible for their actions, and we gave ownership to people within the team. And in fact, we saw a huge difference when we were talking about goals. Rather than setting goals for them, we set goals with them. So they gave the input of what they thought was an achievable goal, how they would take ownership of that. They'd take accountability and responsibility for it. So you could hand that function off of the business and leave them to it. You'd check in with them daily, but you would leave them to it. And because they had that ownership and that freedom, the results were impacted positively, significantly. I haven't got the numbers to hand, otherwise I'd share those with you. But giving people freedom so they can come into a business and actually lead their area of expertise. That's why you're hiring them. You start to see you get a better culture. You build a better culture. People communicate more. And the results stand up for themselves, and you see quite quickly how fast those results happen. And then this pyramid is the key elements for scaling a successful business. And I find that some business owners, they will start something, not see a result in a day or a couple of days, and then they'll stop doing it. And it takes time to build habits and to start to see results. And I'm working with a digital marketer at the moment who's got 500,000 Instagram followers and over 1 million TikTok followers. And I was at a strategy day of his a couple of weeks ago, and he said, it's like bamboo. You plant bamboo, and for 3 years, nothing happens. And then within 6 to 12 weeks, it can shoot 60 meters into the air. But you haven't seen anything for the first 3 years. Staying consistent is the number one key, and it will be anything, hands down. So you could have the best service, the best product, but if you only make one sales call and it's no, that's it. Whereas if you stay consistent and keep phoning customers, you'll understand what their challenges are or why they're not picking it up, and you'll learn, and all of a sudden you'll start to get some momentum. So consistency is the number one trait we need to build in ourselves and in our teams. Building the right network, our ideal client profile is critical. Finding out where they hang out, whether that's online, obviously LinkedIn groups, Facebook groups, Instagram, or whether they attend trade events, business-to-business trade events. I was at a trade show the other day, and it was full of food and beverage people. My ideal client, startup and scale-up businesses, perfect for what I'm doing. So find out where your network, your ideal network, hangs out. We need to implement the systems so the business runs in the background. And when I say systems, I'm not talking about complex things. Basically, it's a few spreadsheets which can run your entire business. And it's a roadmap for your business so you can keep track of everything. Making sure the customer services and service levels are the best in your industry. And one thing that we did really, really well as a business, we looked after our customers. We bent over backwards for our customers. One of my customers was Virgin Atlantic Airlines. We had no contract with them at all. And we worked with them for 17 years straight. And no contract. It was our agreement or verbal agreement was based around quality of service, as in physical service, delivering products to them on a timely manner, cost effectiveness, reactivity, so being reactive. If they needed something, we helped them. And we did that for many, many customers, and lots of our customers we serviced for 15, 20 years without losing them, because we were really good at what we did, but our service stood above everyone else and our range of products stood out. So you need to, if you're going to scale, you need to retain the old customers as you're taking on new customers. Otherwise, you're just going to get a colander effect. You're putting people into the colander, they're falling out at the bottom. So you don't want that to happen. We need to have data to analyze. Sounds boring. Growing a business, the fun end is the technical stuff that you do, the product or service. The boring stuff is this stuff, but this is what will make or break you from being a company which delivers mediocre to one that is exceptional. So this will make you stand out. And looking at the right numbers, those critical numbers, will make you stand out. So analysing your data regularly is also key. And then once you've analysed the data, you then need to readjust to go again. And that might mean you see a number on a Monday, you've changed something the Monday evening, and on Tuesday you're starting with a new tweak of what you've already done. But you need to be checking those things on a daily basis, those critical numbers. So, key principles of success. My cousin was the vice president global for Goodyear, and this is something he shared with me. So thanks, Jim. Excuse me. So grow your network and deliver. So delivering results and networking creates opportunity. But some people don't network. They just deliver. But because they haven't got a big network, they can't deliver big results. Some people network and don't deliver. So they have a great network and they deliver small results. So you've got to network and you've got to deliver. So you've got to take action. So again, I was at a trade show last couple of days. I've already followed up with everyone that I met at that trade show to make sure that I'm fresh in their mind. They know that I want to work with them or want them to work with me, whichever way it is, depending on which business I'm talking about. But you have to do both. Networking on its own will not do anything. Trying to deliver won't do anything on its own. You have to have the two together. So key takeaway for you guys, screenshot this if you want. The key principles of success is grow your network and consistently deliver. Consistently grow your network, consistently deliver. So thriving in the danger zone, we need a 1 to 2 page plan, maximum 2 pages. We need to implement smarter goals, which is specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, time-bound, and then we evaluate and readjust. We need an execution plan, a roadmap. We need trackable critical numbers, because if you're not tracking it, it's pointless doing it. We need to build an A team, the right people, the right role, trained and doing the job right. We need a clear communication strategy. And even if it's just you on your own, you still need that communication strategy on how you communicate, how you communicate to your customers and suppliers. And then you've got to be accountable from the top down. It's pointless telling your team to do something, you do something completely different. That won't work. They won't buy into you. They won't follow you. You're not a leader. You need to start with yourself. And then you need to take responsibility and give your team responsibility as well. And that's how we build that cruise ship environment, by having these systems that run in the background that no one really sees from the outside, but they see the front-facing part of the business runs so smoothly. They just think that you're a magic business. So the top 3 lines are quotes or things that some of my customers have said to me in the past. They feel like the business is running them. There's so much confusion within the team. They don't know what to do, and they don't do what I ask them to do. The business is failing to deliver the results I've planned. And I want a crystal clear 12-month roadmap. That's where a lot of business owners struggle. That they sort of live in week by week. That's no good. We need a 12-month roadmap broken down into quarters, months, weeks, then days. Some people feel like the business is running them, and they want to take back control of the business, and then they want an action plan which delivers results. So I've created a product called Business GPS Systems, and it's how to create a tight ship, how to run a tight ship. So It's made up of 3 key areas in a 9-step framework, and it'll help you run a tight ship and implement the 8 keys. So it'll help you get business GPS systems is your route to more customers, more profit, and growing faster. More time and less frustration, and more time on the big picture, and greater financial benefit. So I surveyed some small business owners recently. This is one of the charts that came out of that, and a whopping 52% of people felt frustrated in their business. Quite interestingly, 36% had won clients at better margins, but 31% had given discounts, which was quite interesting. And then a question that I asked them was, what do you want in the next 12 months? 81% wanted more clients. They didn't feel like they had enough clients. And sometimes that's the case. A lot of the time it's not. They're not maximizing the revenue and profit from their existing client base, and that's something that I can help you with. 71% wanted to grow faster. So not only did they not have enough customers, they weren't growing quick enough. And then 57% is more profit. They wanted more profit in their business. And again, sometimes they're looking at the wrong thing to create more profit. So looking at the critical numbers on a daily basis will help you get to a point where you make more where you make more profit in the business, and perhaps maybe with a lot less work as well. And then another question: as a business owner, what do you want for yourself? Bigger financial benefit, 72%. Less day-to-day, more big picture, 44%. More time out of the business, 22%. And again, that's why I created business GPS systems, to help people get there. So what do people want? They want more customers. They want to grow faster. They want more profit. They want less frustration, more big picture. And how they can get that is through business GPS systems. It'll help them grow, it'll help them be more profitable, and it'll help them get the sales. So just take a minute to think, how would you feel if you had more customers, more time and more profit? What would that mean to you and your family? Would you feel less anxious and frustrated if you had time to focus on the big picture rather than being stuck in the weeds of the day-to-day business? What do you think, or how do you feel you would feel? Sorry, just checking the comments there. One of my most recent clients has seen an increase in sales by 76% by implementing just some of these systems, and that was over a 3-month period. What would 76% growth in sales look like for you, and what would that mean to your bottom line? If your business started to grow faster than ever before, would you be happy with that? Be interested to get your feedback. What percentage, if anyone's there, if you can put in the comments, what percentage are you looking to grow by? And is 76% too much? Is it not enough? I'd be interested to get your feedback. So it's time to take action. I'm offering everyone who sees this live a free strategy call where we talk about where you are as a business, what your biggest challenges are, and we'll put together an action plan of what you can do over the next 3 to 4 weeks to start moving in the direction of the results that you're looking for. So time for action. If you send me a DM on LinkedIn saying growth, I'll send you a link and you'll be able to book that free call. So book the free call. The link, actually, I'll pop it in the comments now. I want to remember. So there's the link. It'll give you 30 minutes, free strategy call, and will help you get to where you need to be. Marshall Goldsmith, #1 leadership thinker, #1 exec coach, and #1 New York Times best-selling author, coined the phrase, "What got you here won't get you there." I spent some quality time with Marshall some years ago. Never forget it. One of the best days I think I've ever had in a coaching environment. So I've got a Q&A. I know this is a live and you can't put anything, or you can't interject with video. So if you have any questions, would like to know any more, please send me a DM on LinkedIn, growth, or with your question, and I will get back to you within 24 hours of that message coming through to me. Hope you've enjoyed the event. Excuse the jumping around a little bit. Like I say, still getting used to this online live webinar stuff. But hopefully you've found it interesting, something actionable there for you. And I look forward to catching up with you sometime in the very near future. Thank you.